excited to try to get back on the floor, or to get back on the floor on Saturday. Got a big stretch, got 5 games, pretty much 9-10 days, somewhere like that, and obviously one at a time with a great opportunity on Saturday versus a really good Oklahoma State team, very well coached, got a lot of good players. We had 2 good games against them last year. Well, one they just absolutely, demolished us, and the second time was we were fortunate to get the win, and so excited to get back on the court, have had a good week of practice, and we know we just got to keep improving, keep getting better, keep making strides the proper way, keep climbing the ladder upward. So that's where we're at.
What do you remember most about that game last year at Oklahoma State?
At Oklahoma State, I mean, you two were there. You guys remember. I mean, I remember. I don't think they would have. There's no question they would have beat any team in the country that night. I mean, it didn't matter who it was. We just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. They were the best team in the country on that night. They just, Marcus Smart was unreal. I mean, he was the best player in the country that night. It wasn't even close. And it was just a avalanche, and it happened quickly. And it happened quickly and in a hurry, and the place was loud. So that was unfortunately, this is a game I like to forget, but it'd be hard to forget that one since our butts were kicked so bad on that.
Talk about this team, because of course we know how different they are because Marcus Smart is gone. Just talk about this year's Oklahoma.
Well, they're a little different, obviously. I mean, Forte's back from last year, who's a big-time shooter, and he's expanded his game. He's not just making threes; he can do some other things. Nash is, averaging close to 18 and 8, 18 and 7 a game. He's very, very talented. Hickey, who was at LSU, who's come in and started for him at the senior point guard spot. I think he's got like 27 assists to 9 turnovers, like 3 to 1. He's a very good steals guy, can hit big threes. Carroll, who starts for him, freshman, is a good prospect. They got some good young guys too. So Cobbins, I mean, they got a good team. They're probably a little bit different than they were last year. We've lost more than what they lost. So they're more similar of a team to what they were last year compared to what we were last year, because we lost way more than they did. But they've still got some good. They got really good pieces still, and they got guys that can fill it up. And there's times where they play 3 to 4 guys on the floor that can shoot the 3.
Because you guys have both lost so much, do you use anything from those 2 games with what you do against them?
I mean, I'm a film guy, so I like to go back to watch film, but I also know it's 2 different teams. Now, obviously, like I said, we've lost a lot more than they did, and they still got a lot of returning pieces back from a very good, very successful team. But you try to take some things here and there. But in the end, it's a new season, new team, new strategy on some different things, and we just, more than Oklahoma State, we just got to continue to play well. We got to play better. We got to play well like we did against Bradley. We got to play well, and the results will take care of themselves. But I think for Tiger Nation, I think everyone wants to see, all the fans, as do myself and everyone else, they want to see improvement and continue to get improvement. I mean, again, there's no guarantee in any results as in terms of the outcome of the game, but the goal is to try to continue to get better, and I think that's what everyone wants to see, just continued improvement from our team.
What led to the improved defense and the improved results against Bradley last
You
year?
know, I think our defense for the most part has been pretty good. Our issue has been the offense. We scored over 70 points versus Bradley. That was a big thing. And we didn't turn the ball over as much. We only had 8 turnovers. I mean, our defense, like defensively against Stephen F. Austin, we were good in some areas. They just beat us to the offensive glass. You know, in some of the games, it's not as much on our defense as our offense. We just could not score. We go in these scoring droughts. And we went and won against Bradley to start the second half. We got stuck again. But fortunately, our defense allowed us to get some easy baskets and get out of that rut. But, you know, if you're going to only have 8 turnovers and score over 70 points, you give yourself a better chance of winning the game. And that's got to be something that's got to continue for us to move forward.
Do you think is that related with you guys, especially a young team, the turnovers, the leading easy baskets, and the confidence and the ball rolling a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and also us just taking care of the ball, not giving it away. Those are demoralizing. But I thought Keedron did a nice job of helping us in that. So we just got to continue to keep our turnovers low. Oklahoma State's going to do some different things defensively and get after us, and we've got to take care of the basketball and we got to score the ball. I mean, we're going to have to score the ball. There's no doubt about that.
Even though there's been turnover, as you mentioned, on both teams, I mean, how much of an advantage, if any, is it to just be able to look at that film and say, hey, this is what my system did against Travis's, or vice versa?
Well, he could say the same thing on his based on the first game. I mean, so it's
I imagine what works having played them a second.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I also know that it's different personnel too. I mean, we don't have Joe and Chris and Michael Dixon and Jared either. So, and they don't have Marcus Smart, and so there's a lot of, we don't have a lot of the same pieces, and obviously they don't have a big piece in Marcus. But we're both a little different than we were last year, and obviously, I think for us more so, and again, this is nothing against any opponent. It's just we've got to, based on our youth, our newcomers, where we were the start of the year to now, we've got to really just make sure we're in good shape, meaning, playing well, playing the right way, and let the results fall where they need to be. We have to play well. And if we win, obviously that's a great thing. If you don't win, if you play well, if the fans see improvement and you don't play well, I think people can live with that for the most part. But it's when we're not playing well and not executing right, I think that's where there's frustration. So I think the key thing for all of us and for our players and my staff and myself and Tiger Nation, they just want to see us keep improving and playing well. And if you play well, you're hopefully more than times than not, you're going to come out with a W.
Were there a lot of fundamental differences with the squad, saying that the result against Bradley and the other result against Stephen F. Austin?
I just think we were better. We scored the ball. We were better. We had more. We were just more alive, and we took care of the ball. And that's got to be an upward trend going forward. Is we have to take care of the basketball, and we've got to put the ball in the basket. So I think for the most part defensively we've been okay. It's the biggest thing is we've got to take care of the basketball, and we've got to make sure that we're scoring. We can't go in those droughts. Who we're playing in our league and the rest of our schedule, if we're going 6, 7, 8 minutes and getting a point or two, or like we did versus Baylor, the last 19 minutes and 40 seconds score 12 points. I mean, you're just not going to win games. I mean, it's not happening. So it's just not going to happen. We've got to find ways to score the ball, and we got to try to get over 70. And like I said, that's what we did against Bradley. And again, you still got to defend. That doesn't mean you just go down and just let them score and you just go score and you exchange baskets. We just cannot be in the droughts that we've gone into. Those are demoralizing, and it's absolutely cost us games.
How can you make sure that they're alive, Coach? I know you said, what can you do for them?
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, I haven't had any issue as much with our energy or ready to play. I've had no issues with that. I haven't gone in a shoot around thinking, man, we're just dead out there. We don't look like we have any. I haven't felt that. I just feel that we have some deficiencies, and we're trying to work through them and get better. And one of our deficiencies is the scoring droughts, and it seems to happen a lot of times in the second half. How can we correct that? That is still a work in progress, and we can practice, stop for 20 minutes, and just like sit down and watch film and then come back on a practice. I mean, that's the only, that and we've tried a little bit of everything just to try to get through, because a lot of our droughts are happening in the second half, and that's something that we can't, we got to put two halves together. And I felt versus Bradley for the most part, we did put two halves together, but it wasn't a complete game, but we were better in both halves.
When you see teams like Nebraska lost last night to Incarnate Word and Michigan's lost and UConn got upset, does it bring you any kind of validation that everyone is good thing? I mean, you've seen a lot of heavyweights fall this year early.
Well, I wish people would listen to me, and I don't think they will, but I've recognized that it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. You're at about 50% are going to agree with you, and about 50% aren't going to agree with you. So everyone is good. There's a lot of parity throughout. I see it in the recruiting rank. I see it in the summer in recruiting. I'm just telling you right now, the difference between the 35th player and the 135th player is really not that much. Maybe the 135th player is actually better. You might say, how is that? Because he's actually probably has a chip on his shoulder and might play harder. The 35th ranked player just might be a little bit taller and more athletic and looks good in in a gym setting because he gets a bunch of dunks, whereas the 135th player just is a better three-point shooter, knows how to play, and then those guys go to the different schools and the talent is spread out, and that's how it is. I saw Van Fleet in high school. Thought he was really good. I remember seeing him with Minnesota when I was watching Shaq, and I was like, man, who is this kid? And he's like, he's going to Wichita State. It's like big time get. This was when he was like, I mean, this is a big time. He was good enough to play for anyone, but he was in a small little team, and
I covered him in high school.
yeah, he was real. I mean, he just knew how to win. He was really good, and but his AAU team was in Minnesota, I remember. And so anyway, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and people are going to have to understand that it's no longer what it was in the 90s or the 80s or the early 2000s. It doesn't matter. Maybe there's 2 or 3 teams that can just overwhelm you. Maybe 5 teams in this day and age can just flat out get on the floor and overwhelm you with talent, and you're not going to beat them. Other than that, it's not happening. 99.9999% of the college basketball is every night you step on the floor, it's a battle. There is no more of the gap. You got to bring it. If you don't have your A game, you got a good chance to lose. And even a team like Kentucky, I used for example last night, even though where they're talented enough to maybe overwhelm you in some areas. Listen, it's a close game. They make some threes, the other team doesn't. It's the way it is, and people have to expect that, respect that, and understand that's how it is moving forward. And that's the way college basketball is. It is not what it was in the 80s and 90s. Every game is its own entity, and especially with us, every game is its own special journey. And there is no gimmies on our schedule. 0, 0, 0 gimmies on our schedule. We have to play a great game every game if we're going to have one chance to win.
What do you remember most, to kind of piggybacking off Grant about the one that you did beat? I don't remember.
Well, I mean, to get a championship was great. To be able to get a championship, obviously, for which the media here love to harass me about the top 25 wins. So it was the AP, because it was the coaches we got the year before, but then mysteriously in the summer somehow found its way into AP. But that's so that was just that. At least that got us talk off, and then but the main thing was the championship in Old Spice. I mean, that was it was a championship, so you want to win that preseason tournament.
How key is your bench going to be? How key is your bench going to be during this? I think you said 5, and I know it's 4 games in 8 days. You got 5 and 10.
Well, we play Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. Yeah, so it's about
5 and 10.
Yeah, 5 and 10. Yeah.
How happy are you with your bench production so far, and how key are they going to be in this stretch?
Well, I think our bench is going to be key for us in this stretch of games, and I'm happy. I think they're continuing to get better. I thought Karan did a nice job on Saturday. Now, like I said, he would have gotten more minutes if he didn't get the technical, but he did some good things for us. I think we have some different pieces on the bench that give different looks. So
it's been a different bench almost every.
Yeah, it's been and for a guy like me who wants to try to be 7 or 8, it's been hard. And I know people say, well, why are you subbing so much? You know why? Because we have a lot of there's not been a lot of separation. There hasn't been a lot of separation between 6 and 10. It's hard to, so you just can't say this is. Whereas last year it was totally separated. There was a complete separation. There hasn't been a complete separation, and we're still trying to find who's our, because each game there could be something here, something there. There has not been that separation, and that's why you're going deeper in the bench. And I know, listen, I would prefer to play 7, 8 guys, but right now, if I'm trying to let it run out, ride itself out through practice and the games, and see who steps up and takes advantage of opportunities, and if not, if we've got to go to 10, we'll just find a way. I want to win the game. I want to do whatever it takes to win. And sometimes I think due to our youth of our team and the newness of our team, there's going to be times we're going to play 9 and 10 guys, maybe 11 guys. We just got to try to find a way to win, and I'm going to try to find a combination that's working, and I usually just going to stick with that combination until when they're tired or the run stops.
Is Nick going to keep coming off the bench?
Yeah, Nick won't. Again, not a demotion or a punishment or anything or a consequence. He's just, I thought Nick gave us a good first half. I thought he was back being strong and attacking the rim. I would, as of today, assume we'll start the same way as we did versus Bradley.
What can people expect from Devontae Cunningham? I know he'll be able to play on Saturday. I mean, you think you see him getting any minutes? Or
well, I think it just depends on the flow of the game. I don't want to sit here and say he's going to play 20 minutes or he's not going to play at all. I just think it will just depend. But he's practiced well, and he's been guys, he's a quick guard, he's a fast guard, he's a speed guard. But I also recognize practice and games are different. But will he play? I don't know. Will he not play? I don't know. Again, I'm going to go by the feel and how the flow of the game going and see how things are going, just kind of go from there.
Is it nice just to have another option?
Yeah, well, especially due to our situation in our point guard play prior to the Bradley game. Now, prior to the Bradley game, we were having some serious issues at that spot. So I felt much more comfortable in the Bradley game that we only had 8 turnovers and we did a much better job of taking care of the ball. But prior to that, I mean, it was a hairy situation there. I mean, we were going through our first 5 games. Boy, our turnovers from that point guard spot was way too many. I mean, look, go back to Stephen F. Austin. We had 9 turnovers between Pookie, Keedron, and Markel, 9 of our 16 and they all 3 had played points. So Markel had 5, 2 for Keedron, 2 for Pookie. So those are things that anytime you can, but I just felt much more comfortable after the Bradley game because between Pookie and Keedron did a nice job. Both of them guys played at the point guard spot. We moved Markel over to the wing more, and I thought there was, we had good balance. And we had those 2-3 turnovers the first 10 minutes of the first half. So pretty much for the next 30 minutes, we only had 5 turnovers. Was not bad.
What do you know about that Oklahoma State team? I know they start 7-0 and then they get beat by 26 against South Carolina. Is it just kind of a mixed bag with them? Or?
No, I mean they're a good team. I just think they played South Carolina as an early morning game and out there, and South Carolina's they're tough, they're hard nosed, they're physical, and our standards that they're going to give us their best shot. They're going to play their best on Saturday, and if we're going to want to win the game, we have to play our best.
Would you like to say some kind things about your dear friend James Dickey, who's now on the Oklahoma State side?
Love James Dickey. Love him. Dear friend times 20. I love James and have tremendous respect for James. I thought he did a great job at Houston. And
he knows you pretty well.
Yeah. No, Coach Dickey knows us real well, and he's been a very, very successful head coach. And obviously, the staff that Coach Ford has there at Oklahoma State's a great staff, and I got great respect for Coach Ford. I've known his father for a long time. He's a great man, and Travis has done an excellent job. And actually, I thought and I actually texted Travis this after the incident with Marcus Smart, Texas Tech. The way he handled the press conference, I thought was, one of the best I've ever seen, and I commend him for that. And so I think he's done a heck of a job. I think Travis has done a heck of a job at Oklahoma State, and obviously they even got stronger this year with the addition of Coach Dickey.
Who was a better college player, you or Travis?
By a landslide, Travis. He's, that proof's in the pudding there. Even though we did win a national championship at Arizona, he did not win a championship at Kentucky. So that's one up I have on him as a national title. Now, he played way more minutes, but 50 years from now, they don't know the minutes. They just know did you win it or not. You know what I mean? So that's my only advantage on Travis is that we did win the national title.